Tiger, there is another way of talking about quality which is now quite popular, which is the sort of instrumental one. Our graduates in the university and even our school leavers are not employable, you know. And of course there is the other argument which says there is no employment. So employment versus employability. What is the yardstick of the success of a university education program? Is it employment, employability, or is it something else?
Not really. If they get a good higher education or university education, they should be able to get a job anywhere in the world. So we don't have to totally depend on the local market. So if the quality of higher education that is provided in our universities or in other higher education institutes, the employment does not matter, because there are enough jobs all over the world. But of course again there is an issue regarding the language. A lot of graduates, especially from the public university, cannot communicate well in English. So therefore they are restricted to get jobs in many parts of the world. And also within the country, most of the jobs are in the private sector. And we have found, even in the private sector, if the English language is not adequate, they will not take our graduates. They will take people with just advanced level qualification and train them to be trainee managers or managers or some other executive jobs. This is very unfortunate, because most of the children who are passing from the schools as O-level qualified people or A-level qualified people are not sufficiently proficient in English. So we need to invest a lot on teacher training. There's a huge shortage of English teachers in the schools. So we can't change that language proficiency in English by merely attending a university for 3 or 4 years. So it is a big issue in this country. And let me also talk about the funding of schools and universities at this stage. Anywhere in the world, I think, except Japan, school education is given free. No fees or charges unless you want to spend money and go to fee living private school or go to some religious schools. There are Catholic schools and Christian schools run by the churches, and when we visited Indonesia, there are schools run by the mosque or Muslim church. So, but everyone is given a chance for free education at school levels, year 1 to 13 or year 1 to 12. But when it comes to higher education, it's a different story in many parts of the world, including India, Bangladesh, Nepal and Pakistan. Because school education is extremely important for a nation. It is the education we provide to young children, because their socio-economic value to the country is extremely important, school education. But when it comes to higher education, the more benefits are to the person concerned compared to socio-economic value. There is a socio-economic value, but it is more of a personal value addition to these graduates. So that's why when you find that large number of professionals are leaving the country at this stage. They have benefited from the free education they have received from the schools as well as from the universities. And finally, what you see, when there's a crisis in the country, they just leave the country and go overseas. So that shows that we have to have some kind of a different model that is practiced in India, Bangladesh, Nepal and Pakistan. That is, every child has an access to higher education, but there's a fee involved. So universities have fixed tuition fees. For those who cannot afford to pay tuition fees, there will be a board. They will judge and see whether they need government scholarships. So they are given sometimes 100% scholarships. Some are given 50% scholarships and so on. And some are giving 100% or no fees. So we need to rethink about funding universities. I think recently I heard even the current president saying that whether we should fund the universities or the students should be reviewed, which is the practice all over the world. I think that's a good method to review, so that we have more funds for school education. I think more than universities, schools are heavily underfunded. That's
Okay.
what I
Thank you. So, I mean, that's certainly an interesting take on this, but they're not mutually exclusive. The increase in the percent of the
Yeah,
GDP
percent, yeah.
for
Sure.
education, and also how it should be subsidized, is an issue.